talking for about 20 minutes today, all about how you can grow your health coaching business with working with virtual assistants. And I know it sounds like it's kind of counterintuitive. You're like, I'm not making any money yet, or I'm just starting out. I don't have any money to spend. And I wish I could go back 4 or 5 years and say to my old self, like, take that extra money, do that, because you're going to grow faster. You're actually going to be doing more, but you're going to be doing less, I should say, but making more of an impact on the world, and most likely making more money as well, because your business is going to grow much faster. So for those of you coming in, I just want to introduce again, we have a special guest today. So Corey Hyben is one of my virtual assistants, my tech guy, and he's coming in also from Rosemont, Minnesota. So just about maybe what? Well, today you're actually in your clinic. Corey is an occupational therapist and also does web design. And so it was just serendipitous that we got connected. He emailed me on a day that my main virtual assistant was going on vacation in like 10 days, and she was booked solid and she could not get a project in before her vacation. And Corey messaged me that day saying, hey, I live in the same city and I work with health, and wellness companies on their web design and all the IT stuff. And I'm like, let's talk and let's get some stuff going. So I've been working with Corey on landing pages, on webinar registration pages. He's working on like the biggest sales page I have ever written. So he is a little time consuming. You're probably working on a lot of my projects right now. But what's nice for me is that I'm able to then concentrate on the things that set my soul on fire. So I can do more health coaching. I can do more creative work, more visualizing and making it happen, the dreams of my health coaching business and Workshops Done Academy. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Corey, and he's going to lead us in an exercise about what we're good at and do more of that, and what we're not so good at and what we don't like to do, to really take a step back and go, is that something that I can hire out? Can I have support on that to give you more time to do what sets your soul really on fire? So Corey, go ahead and come on in and ask questions of Corey. If you have technology questions or just questions about where you should go next. Are you ready for a VA? Feel free to post that in the chat room. So go ahead, Corey.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate you doing this, Lori. It's been a blast actually working with you, because like I think a lot of our visions align, and it's been cool to see like we're able to kind of multiply what we do in terms of helping people with their health by kind of leaning into the things that we're good at. And so it's been cool to kind of connect with somebody that kind of has a vision, and I can kind of help support that vision, which is a lot of what the work is that I do kind of behind the scenes, which is great for me and great for her and great for everybody that we get to help. So it's super cool. And so, yeah, just quickly about me, like, yeah, I work as an occupational therapist. I do that by day, and I get to treat a lot of patients through day. And then in my evenings, I get to kind of unwind and get behind a computer and not talk to people for a while. So that's it's a joy of mine. I will honestly say that. But yeah, so I really want to get into just kind of like what she was saying in terms of like how we're always at our best when we can lean into our strengths. And honestly, it really kind of future proofs our business, allowing us to have more time and energy towards the things that we love, and combining the things that we're both talented and passionate about is really kind of the sweet spot that we're looking for. And there's a lot of simple exercises to do it. And I want to show you a really basic one. I always think like the simpler, the better when it comes to performing an exercise. And so basically it's going to come down to kind of drawing a diagram. And am I able to share my screen here?
Yep, you can, Corey.
Let me see if this works.
By the way, while he is queuing that up, when Corey and I talked about what we want to talk about today, we both have the exact same idea. And I did this exercise 2 weeks ago. And so again, on the same page, the universe is telling us this needed to come out into the world. But it's interesting. For me, it really reiterated what I'm doing is correct, that I am not spending my time on the things that I really don't like to do or I'm not good at, where I can really make a bigger impact, staying in that desired genius zone. So go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Cool. So really all you need notebook, piece of paper, napkin, computer, paint, whatever you got, frankly, for that matter. And all I want you to do is you're just going to draw a line. You're going to make 2 segments. Okay. So we're going to have 4 quadrants. And the first thing that we're going to do is at the top left quadrant, we're going to kind of, and this, no one's obviously going to see this other than you. So obviously don't feel like you need to hold anything back from this. But the first thing you're going to do is at the top left, we're going to write down what you're great at and love doing. What you're great. Okay. And then in the top right, you're going to put what you're good at and you like doing. In the bottom left, you're going to put what you don't do well and you don't like doing. And in the bottom right, you're going to put what you hate doing and you're not good at. Okay. And so obviously you can very quickly see how you're going to look at the things that you do on the day-to-day basis, right? You're going to have certain tasks that you have to do on any given day, and you're going to basically find where they fit in this diagram, and you're going to plug it in there. So for example, for me, so what you're great at and you love doing, this is going to come as no surprise, but one of those things is obviously website design and development. I love doing it. When I get the chance to kind of sit down and put some ambient noise music in the background and kind of just grind away and hack away and not talk to anybody for a while, I love doing that. And through the process of me enjoying doing that, I actually get better at it. Another thing that I enjoy doing is actually podcasting, as weird as that sounds. I enjoy the process of like setting up guests and getting them on the show and be able to dive into what they're interested in, what they're passionate about, and kind of hear their experience. And then another thing that I really enjoy doing is just weight training, exercising. That's something I do every single day. I have a background in personal training. I've competed in a couple of bodybuilding shows, and it's something I enjoy. I'm passionate about it. I love doing it, and I make time in my schedule to do it every single day. And I know these things about myself because they are the things that energize me. It's when I do them and I'm done doing them and I feel great about it, right? And I can continue on with my day and continue to pour into others because they energize me, which is kind of the hot spot and the sweet spot of what we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. We have to do more of what gives us that energy, that if that fire underneath us, that when an hour goes by and you're like, oh my goodness, what happened to the time? You know, you're in flow of something that you love doing.
And I think flow is a really key word. And I think it's something that we often underestimate as well. And so and you know that, right? You nailed it in terms of when you feel like time just flies by and you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't eaten, right? That's another trigger for me. It's like, oh my God, I haven't eaten in like 5 hours. Like, what have I been doing? Like, that's a really good sign of you're doing something that you should probably lean into and find ways to do more of that in your life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So then in the top right, you have what you're good at and you like doing. So this is a tough one because this is an area of, I have a lot of these, and so like, for example, even my practice, right, as an OT, I'm pretty good at it and I like doing it. But there are times where it's kind of a drag, it's kind of a struggle, and it's not something that I'm like constantly passionate about, and time constantly flows for me. So it's definitely something that's worth doing to some degree, but definitely not where you want to pour the majority of your energy into it, right? Another one for me is relationship building. I enjoy sitting down with somebody and having a coffee and a conversation. Now, if I did that for 8 hours a day, that'd be kind of a different scenario for me, right? Like, that's for somebody like that. I think of somebody that's maybe very extroverted. They really like to do sales. That's probably something that would be more like, yeah, I'm passionate about it. I love doing it. Not for me. That's more of like, it's okay, I'm good. I can use that once in a while, which is actually probably how I met Lori. Was like, yeah, let's just talk for a little bit. And like, I can do a few of those a day, but definitely not all day long.
And I could probably do that all day long. Like, if I can connect with somebody and get to know, like, really, talk deep about who they are, and that's like heaven for me to have conversations like that.
So to launch off of that,
it's good how we work together, because you're the one who likes to get all the work done and I just come up with the ideas of what to do.
Yeah. And so to launch off of that one, in the bottom left, you have what you don't do well and you don't like doing. I will say one of those for me personally is probably networking. Like, if you sent me into a big room for a networking event, I'll probably be the one at the food line, like just like constantly eating and not really wanting to spend a lot of time actually socializing and talking with people. I do enjoy one-on-one conversations, which is one of the reasons that I'm passionate and I love doing podcasting, because the one-on-one conversation totally lights me up.
Yeah.
But on the bottom left, in terms of like networking, or another one for me is actually social media. Don't try to find me on Facebook because you won't. I actually don't have it. The only place you can really find me is actually Instagram, which I actually haven't used it in probably over a year. So I probably wouldn't reach out to me there. But so email is generally the best place to find me. I think social media is great. I think it has a lot of values in building your business. And I think it's an important part of your business, especially as a health coach. But it's definitely, for me, it's something I don't really like doing that much. I'd prefer more introverted things, I guess you could say. So.
Yeah, and I think when you work with a virtual assistant too, it's important for us to know what are their strengths. So I'm not going to come to Corey with Facebook advertising, right? That's something that is not something he's interested in. But if I want to talk about, can we put all these Facebook lives on my website? Yeah, we can do that. Okay, let's go ahead. That's a great idea. Let's see how we can do that. Right. So I have 4 different virtual assistants, and they all do something a little bit different. And what's great about that is that you're not actually hiring, a full-time staff. You're just contracting for when you need them for certain projects. So then you can move past it instead of staying stuck. So I just want to quickly go into, I was just in here, but I have a few people talking in our Facebook group. And so we're just talking about what we're good at, what we're not good at. So if you're still online and you want to post, come on in here and let us know what you feel like you are good at and are great at and love doing, what you don't do well, what you don't like doing. So hello, Monica. I'm so glad you are here. So is it Sayar? Sayar, and let me know if I'm mispronouncing your name. She says she loves doing creative, like new exciting programs. She likes doing like creating posts, speaking to her audience. She doesn't like creating newsletters, doing materials. Yeah, and for me, like I don't like doing anything that has to do with like taxes, budgeting, different things like that. Anything technology wise, it just feels heavy to me. So those are the types of things that I can grow by having that sourced out by somebody else.
Yeah, and so if there's any other questions, Lori, let me know. If they pop up, we can definitely dive into some of those, just to kind of bounce off of like what she's saying she is passionate about. For her, it sounds like she's really into like the relationship building piece, right? Like the actual like connecting with people and having those conversations, which is definitely something to lean into.
Yeah, and so, like for her example, like creating newsletters, materials, I want you all to come back next week because I'm going to be talking about repurposing your content. How like I will take a workshop and I will take each tip, and then that's going to be an email. That's going to be something I'm going to talk about on Facebook Live. That's going to be something I'm going to talk about, with my clients. Like it could be a handout, it can be a bonus. So we're going to talk about how sometimes to take a project that feels daunting and go, I've actually already done this once before. Have I done a podcast on this? Have I done this somewhere else that you could take something and repurpose it into something else? So Laura, yeah, I'm right. So Laura's saying she doesn't like technology and marketing and website upkeep. Yeah, and I think Laura, you're right on with most health coaches. I think most health coaches, what I hear is technology, marketing. Those are the biggest things that it's hard to keep up on, because what we want to do is we want to coach, right? We didn't think that we'd be selling ourselves and having to run the business. And so having someone to help you like with that website upkeep, like I know like Corey does things behind the scenes for my websites. I don't know even what he all does, but I know it's taken care of, and that makes me feel good that I don't have to worry about that. Corey, you could probably take the share down if you want.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to show, and let me just see if I still have.
Just to spin off of that too, just so people are aware, like it's really allows you to multiply the amount of value and the amount of people you're really able to help. I mean, that's really what that's all about, right? Is like the more you can lean into your own passionate personal strengths of like your health coaches for the most part, right? And so you enjoy connecting with people, and the more energy you can put into that, the more people you can help, and the more that multiplies outward. And so definitely lean into that stuff.
100%. And I'm just going to share just an example of something that you can work with a virtual assistant on. So like for Corey, you know, like here is like a landing page that we're still working on right now, but it's the 5 ways to kick the sugar habit. So I came up with the PDF guide, but the PDF that I came up with is off of my workshop. So I took 5 of the tips from the workshop and put it into there. I took content of what I say at the beginning of the workshop to get them interested in the topic. Why is it important to kick the sugar habit, and what happens when you're done? So having that, so I gave Corey the content of what I wanted for the words. And then I gave him an example page of somebody that I like. And then we went back and forth a little bit, you know, so you can see that. So what's nice is that you can say to him like, okay, Corey, I want it just like what Lori has here. Okay, I want to have the personal message. I want to have this, and I want to have that. So you can, you know, you're not always having to start from scratch, right? You can take an inspiration from somebody else and then say, this is what I would like. What does that look like for you? Is that something that's in your, you know, your genius zone? Is that something that you can do? So we're just going to be on for just like about 2 more minutes. So if there's any other questions or any other comments, please let me know. Amy, hi Amy. She said she loves working with people. I get caught up and overwhelmed doing techie stuff. Amy, I love the word that you just said is overwhelm, because I hear that over and over and over again. And I definitely have to watch my overwhelm. And when I can delegate, it's stressful at first because you're like, okay, now I have to take the time to teach them about my business, to do all this. But once you have that upfront time done, that overwhelm is not there, because then you're only doing the things that you love to do, which are easy for you. But when I have to go on and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to change this part of this technology? And I have to watch all these YouTube videos. It is overwhelming. I hear you. Yeah, other people are saying like, yeah, hate website work, hate creating pages. Laura's saying, I love working with new recipes. I know, it's so much fun, isn't it? Making the food and sharing the recipes with my clients. Relationship building is something else I love. So Laura, just let you know, I love creating new recipes. I really don't like cooking lessons, but people like having my cooking lessons because I talk to them like how I used to cook. Really simply, I like simple, easy, like one pan, but nutrient dense food. So people are asking me to do that, but I'm like, I would rather talk about the nutrients behind each food. So my cooking classes are different because I don't want to cook the entire time. I want to be talking and interacting. So Mindy says, yeah, Mindy goes, you know, tech is my pinch point. Yeah, Mindy absolutely needs a virtual assistant. And it is hard. It is a hard leap when you take your first step to do that, but it's so empowering to your business and to yourself to say you can now make a bigger impact doing what you do. Oh, Mindy's asking, how do I contact Corey? So Corey, are you on Facebook on your phone right now?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. So afterwards, I will put in Corey's contact information so that they all have your information. I know Corey is booked right now with me and some other people, but you just add people to the calendar depending on what project they have. Is that right, Corey?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, oh, Mindy's saying she needs Kajabi help. I don't think that you are an expert at Kajabi.
Nope.
Yeah. And Mindy, I use.
But that's just like a landing page, right?
Well, it's for courses, and it's a website, it's a mailing service. One thing I like about Corey and a lot of people who have IT stuff that comes easy, they might not know the answer, but they're just going to figure it out. Where for us, that feels more heavy to figure something like that out. For us, we would rather help someone else figure out how to quit sugar, how to reduce stress. Like that comes easy for us. Oh, Mindy says the sugar page looks great. Thank you. Oh yeah, so I'm hearing that. Looks beautiful, looks beautiful. Yeah, so that's what Corey does. And so, you know, we went back and forth about landing pages, webinar registration pages. Now we have a format. So then I can say, okay, this is section 1, this is section 2, you know, that I'm introducing it. This is what you're going to learn. And here's a personal message from me. But I also needed to learn, like, what do I really want? What makes me happy? And so you have to have that communication. Also, what's nice is that when you can find somebody and you get on their schedule, see how you work together. I've worked with some virtual assistants that, it might take a month to get into them. And so you really have to plan in advance. So you have to think about, how do you work? For me, I do plan in advance, but I like to have a really quick turnaround, and then keep that energy going and get a project done. So see what works for you. But the price ranges for a virtual assistant. You can get somebody from, like $20 an hour to about $75, $100 an hour. So, and I know Corey, you're like right in the between. I think you're at like $40 US an hour. But like, I have my proofreader, my editor. She is a friend of mine that's a retired second grade teacher who is a grammar nerd, but she doesn't want to have a schedule. She just wants to be able to proofread my stuff when she has time. And then I just pay her, which is hardly anything, $15 an hour. But then on my end, I know that it's going to take her a couple days to get back to me. And so I have to prepare everything farther in advance to get that kind of deal so she can have that lifestyle. So think about some people who are in your life around you that may want to work maybe, a couple hours a week for you. You can contact Corey to see about getting on his calendar. I just like working with people who understand health coaching. So you don't have to tell them like what you are marketing and different things like that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, next week, we're going to be talking about repurposing content. And also, I wanted to point out, when you looked at my sugar landing page, in the next enrollment of Workshops Done Academy, which is going to be this month, I'm so excited. One of the bonuses is going to be all about list building, because I want to help you all to create a bigger list. So when you're doing your workshops, whether they're in person or online, that you have more people to draw from. So you're going to be able to get, the template for my PDFs, all the copy for emails and everything like that. So if you want to hire Corey, you could be like, this is everything I got from Lori. Here's my name. Here's my brand colors. Here's my picture. Make this for me. And it can be very quick. So I want to provide people, and I have another person who's a part of Workshops Done Academy, Joanne, who I'm kind of grooming as well, that she wants to be more of a VA and leave her 9-to-5 job. And so I want to be able to work with people. They can understand what you do so that you can hire them as well and do something quickly. Because I don't want you to get stuck in the technology phase where I see so many, and including myself, get stuck. So, Gwen just says, I need a bigger list. So Gwen says her VA in the Philippines is $8 per hour. Yeah, you can get VAs that are international that are even less than $8 an hour. There is going to be, sometimes the English is great and the technology is great, but I know that there is sometimes a learning curve, and you do sometimes have to pay a finder's fee of someone to help you find them. So Gwen, that is awesome. So I would love to hear from you how that works. So even though we're going to be going here now, but give us a quote or a comment about how you like that and everything. Yeah, Mindy says, I'm on the West Coast, so it's really a challenge, but I need someone who understands health coaching. Yeah, and Mindy, it doesn't matter where you're located, really, just that you can be on the same kind of page as somebody else, but they're going to be virtual. So they can be in Minnesota, they can be in the Philippines, they can be anywhere, just so you have a way to communicate. I like to communicate through email or else through Loom, which is I can do a quick video as I'm like looking at the sales page to give the feedback and different things like that. So, and let me know if this was helpful for today. If it was, we can talk about this some more some other time. And thank you so much, Corey. I know you are working today and you're in the clinic, so you can get back to work. But thank you so much. And I will post Corey's information down below. And everybody have an amazing day. Take care.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Bye-bye.